I'm just smiling down upon my enemies. Do the shit and love it on a daily. Say you hate your job, but you'll never leave. But that ain't gonna be me, that ain't gonna be me.
Peace, peace, peace. Divine understanding, born to light. Now we do it, set the record straight. Makes you know the free Asiatics. Son of Man 7. Yeah, so it's been well established that the first degree in the 1 to 10 is actual fact, right? Well established. No way in this day and time that we don't know that. All right, so if you said, all right, so what if there's someone who doesn't know, right? That you don't have knowledge of stuff. You didn't even know that the original man was. People with Lamb's Wool are the first people on earth. That's what I'm saying. So they come in 16 shades of black, 8 shades of brown, 8 shades of yellow. Yes, I'm just talking about Lamb's Wool, right? And then you had the people like from what we call today, for lack of a better word, we say India and Sri Lanka, those areas, and those people, right, inside their cipher, they have 16 shades of black, 8 shades of brown, 8 shades of yellow, right? And then you have the what they call in these modern days Asians, or for lack of a better word, that they might even connect it to the Chinese, or the European colonizer calls it Mongoloid, because you'll have Negroid, Caucasoid, Mongoloid, and then from there he goes black, brown, red, yellow, white. So that's what's taught and put in the psychic of the people. So they see everything in the form of race, and that's why they say I'm black, I'm brown, I'm red, I'm yellow, I'm white. And that's still based on the colonizer's ideology of what is or isn't people. See, all right, look. The reason why they say Asiatics and Europeans, because that's what's going on now. That's the combat to race. To understand that there's only Asiatics and Europeans on the planet, so that it'll combat race. But in actuality, there's only Earthlings, from one-cell animal all the way to mammalians, placenta, highly intelligent people, upright, as they say in the anthropology world. Homo sapiens sapien. They put twice, sapien, sapien. So that makes me think of Clyde Winters. And so he's showing and proving that the science behind Cro-Magnon and the science behind Neanderthal, that they were people of, as we would say it today, they were people who had melanated skin. They didn't have pale skin. And the ancient Europeans don't have markers inside these modern Europeans. Those markers aren't there. That's what Clyde Winters said. He's into that DNA, RNA, anthropology, sociology, paleontology. He goes all the way back to the pre-Cambrian period with his research. And so his research cross-references with J.A. Rogers, Sex and Races, Volume 1, 2, and 3, Superman the Man, Great Men of Color, Africa's Gift to the World. It also, those books of J.A. Rogers is easily to cross-reference with Dr. Henry Clark and Diop, Auntie Diop, all right? Dr. Ben, you're automatically going to see Dr. Ben, right? Black Man of the Nile and his family. And then, by then, your mind will have developed enough convolutions on the brain that it'll be easy for us to translate that for you to be, so you can see Lamb's Wool. the key to it, we're going from the 30th parallel to the 30th parallel and the equator, and we're saying lamb's wool. We want you to bear witness to lamb's wool, right? We want lamb's wool to be your sight, because that's where Hollywood made us start wearing snuffleupagus eyes. But before Hollywood could make us wear snuffleupagus eyes, we already was trying to change the pupils of our eyes, and we was already trying to think that if your hair was closer to the European look, flat and hanging down, then that was beautiful and now you're dressed up. But if you go with the afro, you're not really dressed up. That's the way. You have to do something to that. It can't be just no afro. See, that shows you that we don't, because if sisters are walking down the block and everybody has their natural hair, you'll know that's a sister without seeing her. Even if you can't see nothing but her hair, you'll know that's a sister. But with the way Martin's techniques are made manifest, you won't know if she's a sister or not. You won't really know the genetic code. And subconsciously, right? Pardon me. Right, subconsciously, you looking for the genetic marker. And so whatever genetic marker the male likes, that's what he's looking for. And so, but with today's new technology and the way that the system has the people seeing themselves, what's happening is, mostly with us, who is lamb's wool, and I saw it all the way across, right? You'll see it in what they call today Africa. You'll see it in the Caribbean. You'll see it in South America, and you'll see it in Central America, and you'll see it in North America, right? You'll see it from Alaska to Chile, and well, the most Africans that I've been exposed to would have been like Nigerian and South African, and that would be their west coast. Their west coast of Africa, you mostly are in contact with. And all of them, not all of them, but it's like the same ratio as we have in America when you saying they turn their hair other than natural. They might not wear the snuffleupagus so much, but they'll have their hair, it won't be natural. They won't have their hair natural. You follow me? So their hair won't be natural, and they may even be addicted to grain, starch, soy, dairy, sugar, right? If they're addicted to grain, starch, dairy, soy, and sugar, right? Right, if they're addicted to grain, starch, soy, dairy, and sugar, then they're going to have another problem, which is called wisdom tooth problem. Their body's going to start resembling a wisdom tooth as they get older, which is causing more problems internally, if that's what's happening to you. If you look bigger on the top than the bottom, as a wisdom, myself, divine cipher master, right? Equality, wisdom, the queen woman, right? If she looks like a wisdom tooth, that means she's got grain addiction. That's what that is. Wait, hold on one sec. Peace. So the reason why that's part of it. See, what happened is once he tricked us into not liking our hair. That's like the root. You don't like your complexion, you don't like your hair, and you don't like the darkest of us, we don't like. And the hair that is what they call today nappy, but it's really the more locked it is, the easier that it locks, and the tighter that it is locked, and the melanin is very deeply rooted in the physical composition. they don't like it. And they'll even say something like, even the most beautiful of the deepest melanin women, they'll say something like, oh, she's beautiful for that's like but, or but, see what I'm saying? For, like that, they'll say that. That's when you know that right now the beauty is based on the ruler and the rich. And the rulers and the rich for the world right now, because they'll be saying something like New World Order. So the rulers and the rich are the New World Order, but they acting like it's some New World Order's coming, like it's coming. No, it's been in effect since World War II. That New World Order been in effect. The one before that was from the World War I era. And then before that, I want to say you could keep traveling back, Dutch, Anglo-Saxon, Dutch, German, and then, in Rome and the Macedonians, like that. You could go that way. And then finally you get to, because that's only going to give you about 6,000 years, and then finally you're going to get to the original people. And now you're just going to keep going on back until you get pre-recorded history. And you're going to keep seeing us. I don't care, even if you see Neanderthal or you see Cro-Magnon. Their skin, they were melanated people. They just weren't our ancestors, but they were melanated people on Earth. And we could procreate with them, and the baby could procreate, because in some of us you see some of the genetic code, and you can through anthropology and paleontology and those kind of ologies that Winters and them study. Like, they don't study anymore. They're doctors in that. They said, because Winters and all those guys that be with him, they all said that Cro-Magnon is not connected to the modern Europeans, and that Neanderthal is not connected to the modern Europeans, and that they were both melanated people on Earth, and that they're not us. See, they're not us, but they're Earthlings. All right, so I don't know where you want to go with that, but I'm just saying that's history, that this planet's been populated not just by Homo sapiens sapien. And it's not like Darwin said in those stupid looking, Darwin tried to make it evolution and all that. No, it doesn't. That's not how it looks in the timeline. It looks like these things just popping up out of nowhere, almost. It's not like they pop up out of nowhere in reality, but the evidence shows that it's not here, and then it's here, right? And then it's not here anymore. But we see it like there they were. There's evidence that they were there. And then as you keep traveling back, that's why he said there is no timeline where you didn't see the original man. The original man always been here. He just been here in so many different forms that, and then they've been confusing everybody, because when they see something and it doesn't point back to them. See, even when they look in Europe, the oldest bones found in Europe are melanated people. I wouldn't care whether they was Homo sapiens sapien, or they were Cro-Magnon, or they were Neanderthal. They were not pale skin. Pale skin is a relatively new trait that happens on Earth for Earthlings, and they seem to be so aggressive because of the things that they had done to them by themselves and nature in the geographical location they were in, or their aggressive nature made the other tribes not want them around them, and so they pretty much bottled them up. They just happened to bottle them up in Europe, because where else was they going to bottle them up in? Even their own was, because you'll see Thor and Odin are fighting Zeus and Hercules. That's what's really happening, right? The tribes of Thor and Odin fight the tribes of Zeus and Hercules, right? So that you could kind of see. And those are the same similar tribes. They're just not exactly the same, but they're similar, right? It's only when they're fighting the Cometian gods from Kemet that you see, oh, whoa, that's a whole different war now. See? It took Odin couldn't win, and neither could Zeus. They lost, right? If you go back into the Green Book, Luamon beat them up, beat Baal, Ashtoreth, his sister. They all got beat up. They didn't win. And then so the only ones that was left was Thoth, which ended up becoming Gabriel. And when he got his champion from the prophet, right? And then, this is the Green Book talking now. And then, and you've seen it in the Green Book where he went and got his champion. And so, and Luamon had already been riding under the Christ channel. He had already made that manifest with Constantinople and Constantine, right? The Byzantine Empire, all that. He went that way. But from 1453 going back that way, going into, right, into history, further in, you end up with Ottoman Empire and the Moors in Spain. Then you keep going back, you go into Carthage and Hannibal and all of them, right? Well, and then after a while, you get to when they building pyramids. That's like 10,600 years ago is the bottom part of the pyramid world, right? That's the bottom part of it, because that's Gemini 10,600 years ago. That's a drop in the bucket when you, that's the bottom, right? That's the bottom hit. They're not letting that be known to the people that what is really happening in history like that. They're letting that ride by, act like that didn't happen. So the people don't really know, like, the history that they're giving them is the reason why they're making the decisions they make now, because they're basing it off of the truth and falsehood strangely mixed. Once they mix the truth and falsehood and give it to you from birth, you twist it already. You want to give your babies, your little children, want little white babies to play with as a baby doll, as opposed to a little black baby. They don't want to do that, right? The sisters want their hair to look like the European women, and not like back in the days when they was with Stokely Carmichael and the Black Panthers, and the father, and Malcolm, and Martin, and Medgar. Well, if you look at the people that was riding with Martin in those days, they was riding with, they rode with that. They didn't mind keeping it like, they didn't mind wearing conchs and all that, right? Even Malcolm had on a conch, and the sisters had perms, and they used Madam's hot comb when in Malcolm's days, right? And in Malcolm's days, Malcolm and Martin and all of them in that group, right? Malcolm, Martin, Huey P. Newton, Stokely Carmichael, Kwame Ture, El Hajj, El Shabazz, El Malik, Elijah Muhammad, Allah the Father, Medgar Evers, all of them, right? All those 1960s heroes. All of them pretty much all of them gave their lives, all the way up into the 70s, CONTELPRO and all that, right? They gave their lives up. That had nothing to do with civil rights. They was trying to stomp out the black codes that the European colonizer had put in place since the POW camps had been released, and they were striving their best to stop lynching, and they was striving their best to stop Jim Crow and separate but equal, which wasn't true, and they wanted to not be against the law, to teach the real history of people, and that's what they was fighting for. But then the colonizer got smart and tricked everybody into going into a civil rights, right? And Malcolm thought we should go with human rights into the UN, but I mean, now that we know the UN is really ran by the New World Order of 1947. Prior to that, they did that 1913, 1914, World War II. That was that order, right? Like that. That's what I said. And then it goes back to the Ottoman Empire. And after that, I know what you should get. Get Chancellor Williams' Destruction of Black Civilization. Get that. That's another powerful book. Dr. Chancellor Williams, right? Destruction of Black Civilization. And he passed before he could really finish all his work, but you cross-referencing that with J.A. Rogers too, and you'll get a complete picture then. And then, like I said, if you use Dr. Clyde Winters, of course, if you have 120, you got that too. But when you're just talking about academia, you going with academia because maybe the people you teaching, they don't have 120. They might not have 120. You need to be able to talk to any level, up or down. Because sometimes when you talking to the people there, they're going to understand what you said, and now they're going to teach their children that you may have not had a chance to give the light to. You give it to their parents will give it to their children. The same way when the people give them those false teachings, they give that to their children. If they believe it, they give it to their children. People give what they think is real to their children. You have to give them something that is real as opposed to it isn't real. It's just that, like I said, that wisdom myself, divine cipher master, I've known her for years. She knows what it is when you're talking science, but that's like she said the craziest shit. I said, yeah, well, you got all those ailments, why don't you change your diet? I'll show you what to do. She said, now you know that doesn't do anything. So that ends that. I mean, ain't no use talking no more, right? Once you say that means you believe the devil. Oh, I told her, I said, that's why you where you at. Because you think what the devil told you to do is right and exact. But you said you don't bear witness to the devil. But you do everything he tell you to do. That's what you doing. You doing everything he wants you to do. That's what I told the God. I said, dude, you're going to pretty much see the Hebrews, you're going to see the Jews, you're going to see the Christians, you're going to see the Muslims, and then you're going to see the regular people that are still influenced by Christianity. And I'm talking about America, right? And all Christianity's different forms in America. You're going to see that in America. That's what's here. So the problem is not when you a Hebrew, or you a 5%er, or you a Nation of Islam Muslim. It's not that, because that's the root to and Noble Jew Ali. You might even say, well, I'm an Orthodox Muslim. You might even be like a black person that calls himself a Jew. You may be riding that way. But no matter which way you riding, all of them can eat pretty much interchangeably with each other. But none of them can eat with the Christian. because the Christian won't have a dietary law that's connected to theirs. And so in the black people's family, food is like a root to most people, but it really is a root in black people's family, because black people don't be having a lot. So those three things, food, clothing, shelter, is what they really deal with when you're talking about connecting with each other, whether it's man, woman, or child. And so that's how they connect. And by using that as a connection, it'll break down. That's why when we was young and we got knowledge of self, we didn't want to eat like Christians, because the household would have a problem with that. That's what I'm saying. So imagine with these modern days when we talking about organic versus inorganic. See what she said? Oh, it don't mean nothing. In the meantime, you talking about your ankle don't work, your knee don't work, your back don't work, you overweight, you can't lose pounds, you got hypertension, you got diabetes. Well, I don't know how you think that's better than how to eat to live doesn't. And then you just dismiss how to eat to live. I can't. That's why I said, well, that's why the law told us, man, listen, don't be dealing with the old. They set in their ways. They're not going to break that. They're going to stay 85. They want to stay and eat crazy, even with their heart stopping, their knees not working, stomach going, because they'll have that gut disease. You know, the microbiome in their gut don't work right. Their mitochondria is dying, and they have organ failures. And then the main organ they're having a problem with is the circulatory system. That system is having a problem. One of the biggest systems you have is your veins and arteries. That is big as hell. And anything goes wrong with that, it goes throughout the body. You have to be careful with today's devil. He's not playing. Y'all are bullshitting, but he ain't. That's my word, he ain't playing. He's poisoning everybody. Rich, poor, in between, everybody getting it. Unless you know, like the old school people like Park Slope and all them, they knew, because way back then they had the food co-op and the microgreens. And it's been around, dude. We was doing this in the 80s. That's why we know they going. I be trying to tell people, but they don't want to listen. They just want to die, I guess. I don't know. But anyway, I'm getting ready to make moves. I'm out. Peace. Divine understanding, born of light. Now we do set the record straight. That was a good one, right? They probably make a meme out of that. So anyway, we getting ready to have that meeting. I'm out. Peace.